Hey, welcome to my first development log. I'm Jacob and I'm developing a strategy tower defense game. And I just thought I'd try this out, see what people think of it, so I can get some ideas. So I'm just going to start this over. And first thing we have to do is place our base. So I'm just going to place it right here. And once we place the base, the game is going to start. It's round 1 and enemies are going to come and attack us. And like any tower defense game, it's up to us to set up a defense system to defend our base. So I'm just going to place a couple of towers here and here. And you'll notice there's no path. Most tower defense games have a path, right? Well, in this one, you start off with no path. Enemies are going to come for you from all directions. And you're left feeling pretty defenseless in the middle of the map somewhere. But luckily it's only round 1 and it's up to the player to build a path as they play the game. So you notice I've been placing these blue square blocks around the place. That's the most basic unit in the game. It's just a block. It acts as an obstacle to the enemies, so they're going to have to navigate around that. And every tower you place in the game is going to have to be built on top of a block. So basically you build your path, you set up these barriers for the enemies to have to navigate around, and once you've done that, you can place your defense on top of them. Enemies spawn into the game just outside of where you can see from any angle, and as soon as they spawn in, they're going to calculate a path to your base. And you'll notice, like, when you place a block, of course you might get in the way of their path. So as soon as you place a block, they're going to check if their path is still good, and if you've obstructed their path, they're just going to recalculate it on the go. Probably try and watch that happening. This guy's coming up this way, place the block, changing his mind, now he's going back around this way. If I click on our base, you can see you start off with a population of 5 at the moment. That's just a random number that I chose. And haven't implemented this yet, but I thought as the game goes on you'll grow in population, so you can take more hits if you keep your base going for a while. You're going to be able to place multiple bases as well, so you can increase your chances by placing a couple of them around the place. Enemies will just pick one to target. So the dark blue pointy tiles you're seeing on the map, you can't build on those, but the enemies have to navigate around them. So you can use them to your advantage. That's why I've sort of tucked my base in here and sort of started building around where these tiles are. They're pretty useful. On the other hand, these lighter blue tiles, you can't build on those either, but the enemies can run straight over them, so they're just there to be a nuisance. I'm just going to keep on building our path somewhere. Hopefully it might be interesting. I thought this feature could sort of add to the strategy of the game. You have to choose where you want to block the enemies, what their path is going to be. And there's also the decision, like, am I going to place another block down or am I going to place a turret? In some cases it might be more beneficial to spend your money on another block and prolong the enemy's path rather than buying another turret. If I click on one of my turrets here, we get to see the stats. They have a range, damage, fire rate, rotation speed. A lot of tower defense games, I notice the turrets just instantly sort of face the enemies, so I thought it could be interesting in this one to make them slowly rotate, so different towers are going to be able to rotate at different speeds. These ones are pretty slow, as you can see. And we've got some bigger enemies coming in now. So far I've implemented 3 enemies, 3 different towers. So I've got a lot of work I still want to do. I want to implement a lot of different towers. Fill up this essential, advanced and ultimate sections in my menu here with different towers. I have a lot of different types of enemies with different abilities, so I'm in pretty early stages of development at the moment. Okay, so now I can afford this ice tower, which is one of the only other towers I've implemented so far. Place it here, you see it fires an ice block at the enemy, and that's going to slow them down. I think it goes at about half speed. So currently you can see the towers fire at enemies that are off the map. I'm gonna stop that from happening. Looks a bit weird. You might be wondering what happens if I block the path. I mean, there's nothing to stop you just blocking the enemies completely off from your base, right? Well, if I try and block the path, the game's not going to let me do that. You can see we're getting a little message down here at the bottom. You cannot block the path to the enemies. That's my message board. I'm going to make it a bit more obvious later in the game. But yeah, the game basically it detects if there's a path going from outside of the map to your base, and if any block you're trying to place prevents that from happening, then you can't place that block. So for resources, there's 3 different kinds. There's copper, silicon, and geminite. Geminite's actually blue and looks very different, I realised after a bit of research, but I just thought it was a cool sounding name. If anyone has a more realistic name for this mysterious purple gem, please let me know. You'll also notice there's resources dotted around the map. That's a feature I haven't quite implemented yet, but I thought that could be these resource towers that you place on top of those resources, and that'll just give you a constant supply of the resources. I also thought it could be interesting when you place the resource towers that the enemies can attack those, so then you've got more targets to defend, or more towers to defend rather than just defacing. Where are my words going? Then you've got more towers to defend rather than just defending your base, so it can make the game a bit more dynamic, I guess, than just defending this one thing with your towers. Okay, we've got these big enemies coming in now. They're going to be a challenge. This is where I keep dying. I haven't really optimized this game yet, so yeah, I keep losing at my own game. Okay, I can now afford this unlock station. This goes on 4 blocks, which I have prepared already. And if you click on the unlock station, it gives you a number of towers you can unlock or upgrades. So these upgrades are for the towers we've already got, and this one is a tower we haven't got yet. You can see it in the advanced section here. It's not yet available to us. If I just click on unlock, it's going to start unlocking that tower and making it available to us when that's done. It's going to take a bit of time. You can see a little flame animation starts off at the upgrade station, unlock station. And I thought it could be interesting to make it so that when you're unlocking something in the unlock station, it's going to summon a whole bunch of new enemies into the game, and maybe they'll attack the station directly. So you got to place it somewhere where you can defend it rather than just out in the open here like I have. And I'm not too confident we're actually going to be able to fight off these big guys. I probably placed that station too early and should have spent it on some turrets. Oh, we got one. We got one. We need more. Oh, there we go. They got to us. Lost at my own game. Okay, so we've finished unlocking this tower. If I click on the unlock station, we can see that it's done. Got a little tick on the tower. And if I head over to advanced where it's located, our tower is ready for us to purchase. And as I said, I haven't finished this tower yet, but it fires these little sort of plasma orbs. And the idea is that it passes through enemies, so it can deal damage to multiple different enemies. At the moment it just looks like it's flying over the top of the enemies. It is dealing damage, but I need to add some sort of animation to make the interaction look realistic. The spawning of enemies is entirely hand scripted. So I developed this little language, or maybe you call it a file format, for writing the levels. It's just got 3 simple commands: wait, place, and cycle. So wait just tells it to wait a number of seconds, so this tells it to wait for 10 seconds before doing the next command. Place, well here it says to place 4 of enemy type 2 into the game, and then it's going to wait another 5 seconds. And cycle allows you to set up a cycle of enemies, so this means every 2 seconds we're going to place 1 of enemy 0. And you can set up as many cycles as you like of different enemies. I thought that was just a nice easy way to script rounds. You can script a round in like under a minute. Really simple. So that's the way I'm tackling that problem. So I've pretty much showed you every feature I've put into the game so far. As I say, I'm pretty early in development and I want to add a lot more towers, a lot more enemies, more features, just make it more interesting. And if anyone has any ideas that you'd like to share with me, or you just have any thoughts on the game, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear new ideas to put into it as I progress with development. And otherwise, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.